All right. Hello, coffee makers, not coffee takers. He is the master of cyber farms, Alfredo B. Nash Jr., and I, the people's chief, Dr. Joseph J. Burt-Miller Jr., and we are your hosts for the Cyber Coffee Hour. Alfredo and I hail from Mount Vernon, New York, and we are excited to share our experiences and stories along with those of our incredible guests. Our mission is to impart knowledge, enhance understanding, and cultivate a sense of community in the expansive world of cyberspace. So for today's show, we'll have a coffee chat with Middle Georgia State University student Jovonne Burt-Miller. Now, Jovonne Burt-Miller, also known as JoJo, is a Middle Georgia State University student majoring in information technology with a concentration in cybersecurity. With over 9 years in customer service roles, JoJo is looking to deep dive into the cyber side. Her technical skills include VirtualBox, specifically using Kali Linux and Linux Mint, while taking a massive interest in digital forensics. JoJo is a member of the National Society of Leadership and Success and holds an Associate of Science degree in cybersecurity. JoJo enjoys taking nature walks, photography, and watching her investigative shows outside of cybersecurity. JoJo, welcome to the Cyber Coffee Hour.
Thank you for having me.
Now, so for those listening, you may notice the similar last name. Yes, this is a very special episode. I have my little sister here on the show today. Very, very proud of her. She's doing amazing work. And I've been watching her just the whole glow up now, and she's killing it. So, very, very excited to have you on. So so JoJo, just real quickly, just for you, how things been going? Like, what you been up to as of late?
Just been doing a lot of homework and more homework.
Yeah, the life.
Yeah. But honestly, I just been trying to kill these classes, but also I'm trying to learn a lot as well. So I'm taking like 5 classes right now, actually.
5 classes full time?
Wow.
Yeah.
Try to knock it out.
Yeah. Staying busy. I get it. I hear you. Alfredo, how about you, sir?
Hey man, you know me, I won't complain. I'm kind of tripled up right now. Dealing with job loss still was pretty interesting, pretty humbling. Doing a little bit of side of desk work with the garden stuff still into the fall season as we wrap up. I'm trying to go after a pesticide applicator license. It was like a state requirement. That was pretty cool. And then FEMA is number 2. So who's on second is FEMA. FEMA, shout out to them. There's a little bit of training I'm doing side of desk with them for different activities. I'm not going to speak on too much yet. And then last at least, I'm trying to recon additional education as well. There's a school near me that has a landscape architecture program that I might try to go either for a master's or PhD. And I'm not sure yet, given that I'm balancing a lot right
now. Nice, man. No, that's good, man. That's good.
Yeah.
As for me, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm trying to recover from the game today. So the Giants played the Panthers today, and I went through a roller coaster of emotions. I mean, the game started out, Giants looked like complete trash. I was like, oh, here we go. But then, the first half didn't score any points. Second half, it became a game. Okay, Giants started scoring. We started making some good plays. Made some plays to push it into overtime. Feeling good. Okay, I think, we might have a chance here. First play, and we get the ball. So we did the coin flip. We get the ball. We say we're going to receive, right? Everything going the way you need it to go, right? First play of overtime. Fumble. Turnover. Panthers get the ball, kick the field goal, win the game. Game's over.
Oh,
I mean,
for real?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
So I wanted to rip the TV off the wall.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, what, what I'm saying? To go through all of that, the plays that they made to get to overtime, and then the very first play, turn over the ball. I'm like, golly, man.
Yeah,
so
I'm glad I'm not up on it. That's disappointing.
Yeah. So I'm going through it right now. So yeah. So I'm trying to recover. but I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad we're doing this episode today with you all. And again, definitely very excited to have JoJo here on the Cyber Coffee Hour. And JoJo, I'll go right to you with our first question. So, as your transition, you transition from a customer service background to cybersecurity, how will your customer service experience benefit you in your future cybersecurity career?
With customer service roles, you have to be like well-rounded in a lot of things. communication, teamwork, problem solving. So I feel like those aspects and those skills are like cybersecurity.
No, I think, Fred, we see this all the time where we see folks that make career transitions, into cyber from all different fields. I mean, like nursing, firefighting, those who come from even very non-technical roles. But one thing you have to remember is that there are, it may not be it may not be a technical role per se, but the skills that you have, sometimes even those soft skills, like say you're a manager in a hospital, you can still have skills that translate that could translate over to cybersecurity. So I think that's really good for people to know that you don't necessarily need to have those skills right out the gate, but you could acquire them. You do have skills that you can bring over that can apply into the field of cybersecurity. So even in this sense, having that customer service, because I mean, one that comes to mind right now, yeah, especially to get started, we talk about like help desk. A lot of folks who get started at help desk. I mean, that's pretty much customer service. Someone's PC goes down, you got someone yelling in your ear. You got to have some good, bedside manner, or you're not going to last too long in that role. But I mean, I guess I'm friends with. I mean,
yeah, I'll take that 100%. So yeah, when I started out, I landed a help desk job. Right, help desk job was the first job out the gate. I was one young dude that explored Connecticut and got my teeth cut in IT operations. Now we didn't call it that back in the day. It was customer service. It was basically punching tickets, answering people, like you said, bedside manner for every litany of issue that can happen on a computer and the systems you supported. So IT support operations, right? Then the recession hit. So guess where I landed? Retail operations. Right. So that was a cross train. That was a skill. The wonderful Apple Store. Shout out to R202 now in Norwalk. They know what it is, right? I landed there and I realized, like, yeah, my bedside manner wasn't the greatest. Like it wasn't. I wasn't as patient as being somebody that hid in the back and deal with tickets and data centers and stuff. When you're right in front of a client or customer, we call customer client same thing.
Right.
Hey, it's a different story. People lose their data, people lose their photos, kids' photos, things like that. So there was a harmony of bedside manner that helped me in cyber, because after retail operations became fintech and development operations. Right. So all those operations stack on each other to eventually, when you say, oh, how can I be good at cyber operations? Well, the other ones that predated it help. Retail, IT, and then finally development operations helped me become the practitioner I am today in cyber operations. So yeah, I'm a product of the guy. It's 15 years, but yeah, I started in the help desk. I started in customer service, and I got humbled in bedside manner in the Apple Store and retail operations. Right. And then from that, I pivoted to a startup, which kind of was like both combined, the customer service and the bedside manner of folks running their business at a managed service provider, which was to close the gap on IT and development operations, which was pretty new back then. Right. These folks are like, going 100,000 miles per hour to run their businesses, and they don't want to be talked to rudely, first of all, and they don't want you not to know what you're doing under pressure. So, all these years later, I'm humbled still to say, like, yeah, it became real aware of how you should talk to people, how you should handle things under incident, how to handle accounts, which comes from customer service, as how to handle inventory, right? And how to handle folks that under pressure don't want you not to know what you're doing or finding out. So the Apple Store taught me that if you don't know what you're doing, if you can't figure it out together with you and your team, you and the customer can go figure it out and be patient to navigate that situation all the way into cyber operations. It doesn't change. The only thing that's going to change is machine learning operations. I'm stacking that on too. So that plays also. Sorry, got a little on a tangent. You mentioned your strong interest in digital forensics. What sparked interest? What sparked this interest, and how do you see it fitting into your career goals today?
Well, for me, I definitely see myself as like a cybercrime investigator.
What? Nice.
Okay. I want to catch those bad guys. So I think the interest came from like watching investigation shows, like this show called See No Evil, Web of Lies, and so forth. I just like the behind the scenes aspect of it, like what it takes to catch the bad guy.
Did it have any? No, I haven't watched those shows, but did they have any like cyber, technical component to it? for those shows you mentioned?
Yeah, in a way, yeah, because they'll show like, I mean, they didn't really like go in depth with it, but they'll show like CCTV footage. I feel like I like that they show like real footage sometimes, like so like CCTV
Oh, oh,
footage.
so this is like real.
Yeah,
This is like from
like
actual events, not like
yeah,
a.
actual event.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And that's Web of Lies, or which one was that again? That's real events.
See No Evil,
See no evil.
So you
Okay.
Web
know,
of
you.
Lies. Yeah.
Wow. So are these cyber incidents, or is it a mix of like criminal and cyber? Like what is it that?
It's like criminal and cyber. Yeah.
Oh snap!
I think that's pretty cool. I mean, everyone gets their motivation, their start from all different things. And in this case, coming from a show, even talking, if you staying on the subject of like TV shows, I know a lot of folks now probably really getting their start or their love of cybersecurity through maybe Mr. Robot, because I think that's probably the most accurate cyber related TV show I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So I've
That
seen
was
quite a
crazy.
few cyber related movies and shows. A lot of them not good, but no, Mr. Robot, like the tools that he uses and his strategies and everything is very accurate in the real world. So I thought it did a really good job with that show. I thought it was very well done. So any cyber enthusiasts, if you haven't checked it out, go watch Mr. Robot. You do yourself a favor.
100%.
But
I think it's the most accurate with the consultation too. They had Elasticsearch on there. They had Kali Linux. They had a Raspberry Pi, situation backdoor, let's just say, and they lined up with just before he was doing his operations to how somebody was trying to find him as well. So that is probably, like you're right, the most realistic. And then before that, we had the older flicks, Sneakers, right? If anybody remembers that was the last generation. But it wasn't quite as accurate technologically. I agree. Like those shows.
What about War Games? Did you watch War Games?
I did. It's a war game, but that's more militaristic. That's not like the civilian doing the,
Yeah.
But yeah,
it still kind of gave you that. It was more maybe the introduction to hacking, because it kind of gave an insight of how, especially a young kid, was able to infiltrate the military's
the phone system.
network.
That was the one, right?
Yeah. So no, yeah, it's. I think everyone gets their their interest. What sparks them to want to pursue maybe a particular field from all different things. So I think that's pretty cool that, for you, JoJo, that you found that start from there that really kind of piqued your interest, and you want to continue to pursue that, and that matriculated now into you pursuing your cybersecurity degree. So I think that's pretty awesome.
And
I don't want to sound like sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't want to sound like an old head, but there's two books too, Hackers and Masters of Deception. Those two line up with, respectively, War Games and Mr. Robot. So the first two books were the early phone system, but the techniques really in Master Deception you kind of see show up in today's world in Mr. Robot. So that's why I like it too. Sorry. Go ahead. What you gonna say, JoJo?
Even before this show, was like I was always like the person to like find stuff out. Like my friends would come to me to like find out things. I don't know how. It's crazy because I don't know how we doing it. I just be doing it.
So that plays into our next question very well too. As a National Society of Leadership and Success member, how do you think leadership skills are essential in cybersecurity?
Like leadership skills, they definitely take. Like you gotta have decision making. Like you gotta be good at like decision making and like high pressure situations. I feel like there's different aspects that go into like being a leader. Like what it takes. Definitely communication. Effective communication.
And even as you mentioned that, you talk about like, so yeah, within cybersecurity, you do have to work with others. Like, you work within a team. You have those that people who you do rely on to carry, specific tasks. Certain missions that you have to carry out, and then also what you need to execute as a team to make sure that and let's just say if you're, in cyber defense, that you're making sure that you're everyone is doing their part, especially high critical, high pressure environments and situations. So, but no, I think to your point, Jojo, I mean, leadership is definitely a key component that's necessary within cybersecurity, because you do need individuals that you can look to and to say, okay, this is the person that we're going to rely on, who we're going to roll with, so that way we can get our job done, that we can make sure that we're accomplishing the task at hand. That those are, and our friends, we just talked about it earlier, like just having, I think, having those type of skills, like I said, if those who are transitioning into cybersecurity, and like I said, you don't have to be working in tech to work in cyber. You can still have those type of inherent soft skills that can still apply when you come over to cybersecurity, and do very well. And also you can learn when it comes specifically to the job. You can always learn those things as well. There's so many resources now that are available, some free to low cost resources that, we talk about. I know with JoJo using VirtualBox, Kali Linux. We have Try Hack Me, Hack the Box, Cisco Packet Tracer, like all these different resources that are available now, where so let's say
CD no more now,
right? No, right. I was just gonna say, like, even if you try to make, like, you create like a home lab, that can get real expensive. Yes, you learn a lot by having that hardware at home, but it can get pretty pricey. But like now that there are alternatives now where you can pretty much replicate that, while, like I said, as I mentioned, like Cisco Packet Tracer and other different options that are available now, that you can still learn. What's the other one? Oh, Test Out. Actually, JoJo, you was the one that pointed to me that, because actually when she was studying,
what's it called again?
Test Out. Yeah, nice. So they partnered with CompTIA.
Oh, really?
And so I think it was the Security Plus. I think you were going for, JoJo. And yeah, but either way, I just remember I had visited, and I gleaned over her laptop, and I saw this lab that she was working on. I was like, yo, what is that? And she said, it's Test Out. So, I took the laptop and started messing with it for a bit. I was like, yo, this is good.
Like the Sega controller, right? Like,
right. Yeah, pretty much. Like, yo, I want to play. I got next. So, yeah, no, I thought it was really good. But again, I just say that to say that's just another example of, like, there are so many resources that are available now that anyone who wants to get started in this field can quickly learn, and also just find themselves, immersed within a body of knowledge that's available, and also like work with others, to, like I say, you're getting that information, and you're learning, and you're and also where you're able to what I think that the biggest test is when you're able to explain what you've done. So it's like, for instance, like if you let's say you create a lab and you're able to tell somebody, even if they have no idea what you're talking about, but if you're able to, articulate like what you've done and the different things you've done, that really shows that you're really grasping the material. So I think that's, again, that's I think that's a big benefit for those who are trying to get started.
100%. And I wanted you to finish. I know I'm getting excited right now because you hit the ball in the park too, right? It's a matter of a leader saying to you, and let me not lose this thought, saying to you, hey, go seek out these tools. I've used these tools over the litany of 10 to 15 years, right? 5, 10, 15 years, whatever, right? From VirtualBox to Kali to Try Hack Me to all these different tools, you got to understand you need somebody to mentor and guide you, not just hands on keyboard, but show you like, hey, this is how you run the gauntlet. Right. And we, Dr. Joseph, we're becoming those leaders today, but also it's good to hear what the newer college are using, right? The different tools,
right?
What struggles they may be having, because we're numb to it, right? So it's good to hear that back and forth communication and be a receptive leader to say, well, why aren't you using Try? What do you find difficult about Kali, Linux? What did you find difficult about VirtualBox? How do you see the parallels in all the platforms that you're using or not? And then it's good to see that direct mentorship from a real leadership committee, like, the National Society of Leadership, to establish the success that you were talking about, JoJo. Like, some folks need to understand, like, yeah, it's hard. It's intentionally difficult to be in cybersecurity. I'm not going to front, right? It's not easy to run these gauntlets and start to understand all the tools, techniques, and procedures, right? We hear the industry a lot, but that really needs good leaders to show you these paths that you should take. Almost like a video game. I hate to keep making the reference, but it's almost like running like a gauntlet to get to the boss battle or to get to like the next stage of your career successfully. Right. So you need leaders that understand and reach back and say, well, what was difficult about your test out exam after the third time? After me, I failed the security plus 3 times and I still don't have it. So I would like to pair up with the younger folks and say, hey, what did you find difficult and how we both can achieve the goal? I think that's real leadership today in cybersecurity, for sure.
Absolutely. So JoJo, you've gained experience with VirtualBox, Kali Linux, and Linux Mint. Can you share maybe a specific project or challenge you tackled while using these tools?
Because I feel like I mainly use it for school right now. So, and I also have like a tutor that helps me.
Okay.
Okay, what labs did they give you with these tools? And were there any particular labs that you found interesting?
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank right now.
So
okay.
Nothing that I can think of right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
no, it's cool.
I
mean,
experience challenges yet.
Well, what do you like about them?
What
do you
the
like
labs?
about the tool? Yeah, the labs and the tools. Let's pick on Kali for example. What do you like about Kali Linux? So that one's been around for a while.
I prefer, even though I'm getting familiar with Kali Linux, I like Linux Mint a little bit more. Yeah, it's so like crazy. Like it just like replicates what your home, like the home station, the home computer.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Right. Okay. Now, so for me, I don't know if Alfredo, if you have, you're more the Linux guy than I am. I haven't dabbled with Linux Mint or really Linux much at all. I mean, no, that's not true. I've done some Kali Linux, but Linux Mint, that's definitely new for me. I haven't messed with that, but I guess Alfredo, yeah, is that something that you've dabbled in yourself?
Yeah,
I guess specifically for Mint.
So yeah, in a lot of the scenarios, Linux Mint is the client, and it's always been like the whole Ubuntu family is kind of like you said, it replicates what I would use a desktop or client computer for, even the classes, right? It's like a polished Linux for the typical client, right? Like, hey, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna need a product suite, Office suite, a calendar, Google, right? So their distro is just cleanly built for the typical client to power user, and it stops at that power user intentionally. So when you get a Linux like Mint, Arc, one of the cleaner tools, like a lot of people like, KDE Desktop, if it's still around, God, those, Fedora, those are the cleaner, like you said, the people that want to transition and pick up, especially Ubuntu, the whole Ubuntu and higher Debian family. They just want a sweet user experience and something that doesn't replace what they're coming from in Windows and Mac, if they're coming from Mac too. And it's intentionally clean like that, so it's an easy transition. Now, when you become the power user and you're like, I'm in the command line, or I might have set up the desktop, I might have tinkered a little bit with some of the services file and web services, then you find your Kalis and your more complicated Linuxes. Your back in the day, it was Gentoo. And Kali was called Backtrack. So that's how I found it. It's like, Ubuntu's cool, but what else can I do? Right. What other Linuxes are out there that I could use and get to gain experience? They are intentionally ramping you up to that experience. Well, now I don't need a desktop. Now I want to get behind the scenes and mess and tinker around with the services and build them out from scratch. And the same thing goes for VirtualBox. I'm actually pretty excited that people are still using VirtualBox. That's how I cut my teeth too. VirtualBox is that tool now, one of the most underrated hypervisors out there, where you will stand up multiple Linuxes to do that. So that's how I learned too. Is you stand up these different flavors and find out what the differences are. And
I guess like for JoJo, as she's on this path, as she wants to pursue within digital forensics, Alfredo, I'll pose this to you. With her, I understand she's still learning these things, but definitely having that interest starting out. But you feel like she's on that right track then? Because 100%. I think a lot of folks,
100%, cream of the crop. DFIR is the echelon. I'll just say that for anybody listening. You're going to work your way through like a crime center, right? You're going to work through most of the forensic investigations. Now, I'm saying this, side of desk, right? You want to get your Linux chops now before you're in those incidents, because a lot of the tools, I think if it's still around, it's called Remux. You want to check that one out. That is widely deployed Linux. There's no, there might be a forensic end case on it or tooling that runs on Linux to do the investigation, or there might be a sandbox. But yeah, that's the big Linux, right? That's the Linux that's going to help you assist in the investigations. And a lot of the labs.
What is the name of that one again? Sorry.
Remux, I'll put it in the show notes too. I think it's REMUX, if I remember. I got to shake the cobwebs off a little bit, but that one is the one that's like it's straight Linux. It's not difficult, but you're gonna want to get your chops on it and understand how those tools help you with investigating other systems. Pretty much like a Windows desktop, a Mac. Even now, they got Mac functionality or hypervisor environments. So that's 100%. You're on the right path. You just got to take the edible chunks of where you are at Mint, where you might want to be in Kali, and then pick up, the differences in the two distributions I named, Kali specifically and Remux.
And just to add to that, I think, JoJo, and even tying back when we're talking about, National Society of Leadership and Success, building out this foundation now with these technical tools, this will help you as you develop yourself, as you develop your skills, and also help establish yourself as a leader, because then you're able, once you show that technical know-how, you're able to lead. You'll be in a position where you can lead teams and confidently say, hey, that you'll get to a point where you're able to mentor and help those who are learning and getting started, because now you've done that. You've as our friends would like to say, run the gauntlet. But but now you're able to utilize what you've learned and help make sure the teams that come up that you'll be looking over, that you're helping them to get to where they need to be as well. So yeah, you're definitely on the right. You're definitely on the right path. And I think like I said, you're doing the right thing, because that will serve you well as you continue to work, as you continue to learn, and as you establish your career within cybersecurity. Having that good technical foundation and background is really going to serve you well. Even if you're thinking about doing something for yourself. You work for a company for quite a bit, of course. Get your money, but then after a while, you have enough technical experience where I have enough technical knowledge where I could just start my own company, and that's when you really start, really start reeling the money in.
Well, trying to, I'm gonna keep it real. You're right. There's a lot today, especially where you want to listen to a leader that has failed and succeeded. Like I failed and then I got back up, right? So if you failed at Kali, you fail at Mint, and then you pivot and you're like, oh my God, I could pick up Remux. Well, you can talk to that whole journey and you can solution around it, which is great, right? So you're right, 100. And then once you start building those solutions, like you said, that rapport of experience and cadre of mentors and mentees, right? There's nothing that's going to stop you from going out and consulting on. Right. And be real, like there's nothing. Exactly. Linux is probably still the top dog for most of these folks that struggle in the environment. Right now, it is the underdog, because the front of house would like to say we only use Windows for this particular need, right? But when you start doing those investigations and start doing those hunting activities, it's all majority Linux. Majority of it has been Linux. So to your point too, when I failed the Security Plus, the next one I took was the Linux Plus, because I was like, wait a second, there's got to be something I don't know in the environments that I've been through that is valuable to my job, and it was the Linux Plus. I took that at a startup, and I never looked back. The sky was the limit. So,
and the reason I even emphasize that, JoJo, you're on the right path, because for me, my journey has been maybe a little the opposite, where I was more focused on like the security side of things as opposed to the technical side. I would say, let me take it back. It's more on like the GRC side, I'd say, for me, where my experience really lied for my career path. And then I started to get more into technical from really with my current role now, or my current position now where I'm at, because I talked about it, like, I failed Net Plus 3 times, at least 3 times.
Isn't that crazy? Like the number 3, like something changes in you when you fail those exams.
and we're not even talking CCNA or
No.
I mean we're talking about Net Plus.
Yeah.
Net Plus is no joke, man. So yeah, I was feeling away because I like, man, I have all these things, got a doctorate, this, all this and that, and I'm getting body slammed by the Net Plus.
Yeah.
So and I share this because I was speaking to you, JoJo, and then also others who are getting their career started as well. Like, just from my experience, as I shared before, when I took the Net Plus the very first time when I worked at the the DoD Cybercrime Center, it had a program where they covered for me to take Security Plus and Net Plus. I did Security Plus, passed first time, boom. And then, I don't know, a week or two later, went ahead and attempted the Net Plus. Didn't work out. And, but then I left. I think the biggest mistake was I left it alone. Cause I was like, I ain't gonna be no net engineer. You know what I'm saying? So I left it alone. Fast forward, years later to where I am now. And then when I got my first set of assignments, I looked at it, I was like, yo, I think I need to go back and get that Net Plus. So I was going a little backwards. And that's why I share, like, even when I talk with mentees now, like, no matter what your career goals are in cybersecurity, whether it is going to be a network engineer or not, get that foundation. Get that established. Get your security side, the GRC side, get the more technical side, get that all. Build those bricks now, 100%. Because it will. Because then, as you continue to learn, and you never know where your career is going to take you. It's going to serve you well because now you have those bases covered and you're able to speak those different languages now as you move up in your career. So you don't want to, like I said, kind of work a little backwards as you move up in your career and then, okay, I need to go back and learn this because what I should have learned is, way back when. So, and that's why I share that, because if you do those things now, that's really going to help set the baseline for you as you grow your career in whichever path that it'll take you. So
to be real, to piggyback on that too, right? Look at our dynamic in this small pod. You will get leaders in your journey, JoJo, that has this dynamic that Dr. Joseph and I have, right? Because now, let's be real, there is a little bit of a change in the guard, right? Some of us are going to, like, I'm backtracking on what kind of leadership goals I can't have access to because I don't have the Security Plus, right? And so that cross training, that what he just said, lands you into the type of dynamic leadership you're going to have. It's not just going to be me and your big bro. There's going to be everybody with that skill set and expectation of you as an upcoming leader, right? So, the tinkering that you do, the journeys, the regression too, like me too, regressing and saying like, yeah, let's close those gaps. Let's check the boxes and get a little bit bigger skill set in Linux and leadership, right? Because to be real, there's not enough folks out here doing both. There's a shortage of legends.
So JoJo, your hobbies include nature walks and photography. So how do you balance your technical pursuits with these creative outlets, and how do you find any maybe unexpected connections between them and your cybersecurity studies?
Because even though you might not think like cybersecurity and like photography would go together, but I feel like it really does go together because even for like for instance, like cybercrime investigations, like you're gonna need to like have an eye, or for instance, like even with the advancement of AI, like there's a lot of deep fake photos out there, so you need to know like the difference for like what's real and what's fake.
So like looking out for those different type of. Yeah, no. I think that's great. I think you're looking out for those different type of indicators as you mentioned. So you're having that trained eye. You know what to look for. What are some of the things that stand out to you? What should stand out to you as a professional in this sense, and you're able to. That really helps you to continue to become a well versed professional within the field. So. I've heard from the guests we've had, we always, everyone has shared a different flavor of how they compare cybersecurity or how they take in what they compare cybersecurity to. As I mentioned, for me, if we look back at season 1 when we had Dexter, we talk about how cyber and sports are pretty much similar. Yeah.
That was a big one.
Yeah, but then like also just really just how similar you can have, you know, a cybersecurity team, and it's almost like you run a sports team. You know, there are quite a few similarities that you could tie in, and how you can, you know, in this sense, for you to become very successful within the field, because you're able to um, carry over maybe some of those attributes and what you're looking for. So it's so even in this sense, what JoJo just mentioned, I mean, even photography, I mean, photography is needed in when you're doing forensics. I mean, I think that's a big, that's a big part. So I mean, yeah, I mean, just having that trained eye, and like I said, just knowing what you need to look for in a sense as you continue to grow and establish yourself.
So I'm gonna go off a little bit off of that too, because I could take something that I had to even regress in and look at nature, right? So I'm gonna take the nature and bring it to the photography. I'm not a great photographer, and then all the stills, colors, different data types, different camera lenses, file types. When you are already a photographer, you're the subject matter expert. I take a knee, right? So when you have that soft skill that I don't have, it's like, oh, JoJo's my go-to person for that. Right. And then what is JoJo taking pictures of that she could tell the natural environment, or what we like to say in cyber, the controlled built environment, difference from a deep fake, right? A deep fake trying to also put that same image out and mislead the AI. Right. So I took a regression and said, well, I'm not a photographer. How can I learn the environment and ecosystem better? Nature taught me that. Right. So being a threat landscape, we've heard in other episodes, cyber threat landscape, right? There's an ecosystem of digital formats, right? Camera lenses, devices, your phones, right? Well, I don't know that. JoJo's my subject matter expert, right? Because JoJo does that for a living. JoJo goes out there, she takes the photography, she uses the different stills in an environment built and controlled, because mind you, we're in an information environment or ecosystem today, right? So that's a hint too. You want to study these things and become, you know, take that soft skill and map it to your cybersecurity expertise, even the juniors. Like, this is for everyone listening. Whatever you do in soft skill set, please believe there is a shortage in the cadre of folks that are working there now that don't do that. You know, there's people that don't take photographies and don't know the difference between a Nikon, a Canon, a Sony, your iPhone, your Android, right? Like that's a whole PhD in itself. Then when I'm used to seeing these formats and I say, oh man, this building doesn't look right, or this school center doesn't, or this, to your point, the stadium doesn't look right today, that becomes a built and controlled environment. That becomes an analytical job, right? That becomes a forensic job, right? There's whole types of mappings on cybersecurity that we said on other episodes, that skills and sets that we don't have as cybersecurity professionals today. So you got to build that bridge. You got to build the connection to what you're great as in photography, a current cybersecurity operations folks may not have. Maybe threat intel, to my favorite. Threat intel folks look at photography and analytic measurements, reports, faces, right? Buildings, how they look 5, 10, and 15 years ago, which cameras took it, right? Which format and which metadata pool existed over that time. So you would become the subject matter expert, like, hey, JoJo, what's coming off of this Nikon today? Right? How can I use that in my investigation? Hey, I'm not familiar with that, but can you help me out? Because I know, you know, don't you do photography on the side?
Yeah, so we have Jovonne Burt-Miller here on the Cyber Coffee Hour, part of the Alive Podcast Network. As we transition here, just learn a little bit more about JoJo, and also maybe some of the lighter things she likes to get into outside of school. So first, so I understand, JoJo, you're currently enrolled in school. You're studying cybersecurity. Maybe just share for our listeners just how your experience is right now, you know, going to school, classes, and everything like that. And maybe someone who's listening could say, hey, maybe that's what I want to pursue, or what they should expect from maybe those who are about to get started with their school program.
Yeah, so definitely it's a lot of research. Because I know with what I've been doing, it's like, with the classes that I've been taking, they want to like write a lot, do like research about.
Well, like writing essays or papers, like research papers.
Not like research papers, but like, say for example, like write about like TCP dump or like Wireshark, like do research about that, and like at least be like knowledgeable about it. And yeah, because they're gonna ask you questions about that.
They have you do like
Yeah.
presentations or?
Well, not presentations. Well, at least for me, I haven't done presentation, but it's like
Are you
assignments.
doing that research with your peer students? So
No,
are
I
your
do it by
class?
myself.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me,
Do
I
they,
do
do
it
they
with
do they have you? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I do online.
Nice.
No, I was just gonna ask if they do like pair you, like working in groups, like with your classmates on like certain tasks or projects. If did they have you do that, or at least not yet, or
Oh yeah.
any type
So for
pro?
instance, yeah, because I'm even doing a project right now for one of the classes. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's like my forensics data class actually. So yeah, we'll get like I guess the professor will assign like 10 questions or whatever, and then each person in the group will get like 2 questions to answer, do the research on it, and then answer each question.
Okay. I um I know. So when I started my bachelor's, I had to do quite a bit of group work, and I'll be honest, I hated group work because um, there was always this one person in my group who I was assigned that didn't do any of the work, and then of course, I didn't want to fail, so it was like I'll pick up the slack of the other person, but then everyone gets the same grade, so I was kind of turned off by group work, a while back, but no, but also there've been changes now. I think to make sure each member is accountable for their part. So I think it is. I mean, not currently going to school now anymore, but I believe there have been changes to make sure each student is accountable for their group in a group setting. So
Yeah, as my cousin says, he calls me a professional student. There has been a change from when we were going, right? We were kind of like the subject matter expert. There was a person for database, there was a person for Linux, there was a person for like, whatever, right? And that was the class that comes to mind, I don't know if it's still around, was called Management Information Systems. I hated that too, because I was the guy that worked all night and barely contributed. I'll be real. Then I had to be a manager in the IT help desk in the simulated cohort, and that's when I had to step my game up. So the schools sound like they still have that cohort piece and lab piece, but what's changed now is they made it more live where you have to contribute. See, we didn't have that. When we came up, everybody didn't have to have their fair share of contributions, and they all got graded the same. Which, again, I probably been on both sides. But what I like also about the school today is that they're pulling in people more from industry to teach the class, right? So they'll dole out like, you two are the database questions, like JoJo saying, you two are the network questions, you two are like management information systems, or managers even too. So I like that about the current environment, that kind of like the younger cadre has, is that you don't get to stay comfortable. You get to switch around and get questions outside of your skill set, which is kind of cool. Especially at the community college level. So the community colleges are stepping their game up and doing that now, which we didn't have coming up. So
JoJo, in your estimation, like what are the most significant emergent threats in cybersecurity today, and how should organizations prepare for them?
So can you?
Yeah, so when we talk about like just the different emergent threats that are going on within cybersecurity today, we talk about like maybe insider threats, social engineering, even AI. Just what in your estimation, what do you feel are the most significant ones that's going on today?
Ones I would say are the insider. I feel like employees, they need to be like more knowledgeable and like being aware of like certain like tactics, like social engineering. Like someone could call them and pretend to be like a higher up, be like, "Oh yeah, you need such and such information, blah blah. I'm calling from such and such." And then they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, it's blah, 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 blah," and it's just like definitely employee training is essential.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, good. No, I was just gonna say, like, so even when we talk about insider threats, it could also be the flip side where, you have employees and they have all this wealth of knowledge and they're using it for the wrong purpose. You know what I'm saying? So, right, because they already vetted, they already got their CAC card, they're already inside the building. They have
PIV.
yeah, CAC or PIV. They already have access to a lot of maybe potential very crucial information. So it could be on that side too. So as JoJo mentioned, more like the negligent side of insider threats, because someone, not doing their job, appropriately, but also, like I said, and I just mentioned, you have the flip side of that too, where someone who knows what they're doing and they know the information that they have at their fingertips and they're using it for the wrong purpose. So yeah, you do have that, and that's definitely a big, I would say probably a big threat, because you could do all the vetting, background check, polygraph, all this type of stuff, and the I guess the opportunity may come for someone. You just don't know what will make someone break. Like what will cause someone to share classified information, or maybe they're in debt, or they're getting paid to maybe by a foreign actor to say, hey, give us a dirt on this nation, we'll pay you, beyond your wildest dreams. And someone be like, yo, I ain't making this money working here, so what you want me to do? What you want to know?
And that's 100%. That so JoJo, listen to your big bro, because that you as a person that has the leadership mindset, what it's like to be out here in this economy, getting the skills to pay the bills. The other thing is, you might have my mom says this all the time, you have the discernment to see the pressure of another technical person making a mistake intentionally. Right. So the challenge I see out in the industry is that, yes, people are hungry, and listen, money is the motivator, right? Not everybody could defend the organizations just as bad or just against just as somebody that's good as them. Right. So a lot of the motivation today is and I will probably do an episode on this too now I think about it, is the good guys go bad because of that pressure. Mm-hmm. And you all as all the time. Believe me, I don't want to scare you. This insider threat thing is probably the most studied attack vector in our industry, right? And you got to say why. Money might be a motivator, political influence, all the things your big bro said, but also some people have the technical acumen to try not to get caught. So that's one thing I saw on the threat intel side over the years. It's like, oh my God, now we have to watch out for these threats and how they're countermeasuring us. Counter intel's called it. There it is. It's out there. But some of these folks are just as good as a Linux person as I am, or better. Right. And the motivation, to somebody's point, is, hey, you know what? My house is behind. Or you know what? I want to get my wife a new car. Right. You got to see the discernment in that they're going to use that now for malicious intent. The benign actor or the defender could be just as visceral on the adversarial side. And that's an insider threat piece that you got to be able to discern based on your skill set and your soft skills of people. Because it's not all technical. You got to be able to learn how to read a room. Like you said a couple of days ago, Dr. Joseph, what changed in their pattern when they're on the system? Why are they so glum today?
Right.
What bills are they did they go behind on the mortgage? What caused that? To some extent too. Hey, I'll throw it out there. Are they bug bounty hunters? Some people might have to supplement their income, and you have to decide on, which way they're going to go to jeopardize your security as a threat. Now they're a threat, right? So,
Frezza, you want to take this?
Oh, yes. What is the first piece of technology that sparked your interest in cybersecurity? What would you say the first piece of tech was?
Or even maybe not tech, but I know you mentioned we talk about like different shows or say investigative shows or something like that.
It's television.
Really? What, smart TV or what? What was on? What was particularly about the television that sparked that interest in cyber?
No, yeah, like I said earlier, it was the shows, the investigation shows, and
okay. And then what challenges have you faced in your journey to success, and how did you overcome them today? Let's talk about that homework. I know that's a challenge. Like how you manage your 5 classes, going to work, looking for. I know you're hunting and gathering job inquiries too, right? So could you speak to that? Is that a potential challenge for you right now? Someone trying to break into industry?
It's definitely has to be a balance. What also helps me is my planner. I to write down everything, like what's due, like assignments that are due and stuff like that.
Well, so when we talk about challenges, I think I shared previously, like as we all do, we may deal with maybe bouts of fear, maybe self-doubt. Maybe could you speak to that a bit? Like, did you have a bit of that where you feel discouraged at maybe certain points along the journey? Or like what are some of the things that maybe you could speak to that piece?
And how you overcome them, especially too.
Actually, definitely self-doubt, because there even was one time I failed a class, I think last semester or whatever it was. So it definitely like tempered my mood. But then again, I was also thinking about like, the end goal. Like I just want this degree, so I'm just gonna just keep pushing forward and just keep going.
So the self-doubt was more of whether you could finish, but you're trying to, like I said, it's, encouraging yourself to make sure you reach the end.
Right. Did your time management, like did balancing your time management help you with that fear? Because you mentioned the planner. I'm sure you had to stay like goal oriented and achieve, particular objectives to get over that doubt, right?
Definitely time management plays a factor, because I mean you definitely need time to do these assignments and stuff like that, and you have to put time into what you want to excel in.
And that's definitely a good habit to get into. I mean, we're talking about time blocking. Specifically, just like I said, okay, I'm setting this time to study, or I'm setting this time to work on labs, or I need to write this paper, or whatever the case is. You are, because we all, I mean, life goes on. We still have things we got to do. Still have to juggle work, school, life, and other life responsibilities that we have. So we just have to know how to manage it. And again, if you talk about even for leadership, that's going to be a big piece. Managing your time, because a lot of your time is going to be spent doing stuff that you don't necessarily want to do, but that you have to do. So managing your time is very key. Because now when we're talking about for leadership, you're not just managing time for yourself, but also managing time of others as well. So that's definitely a great skill set to have, because that's going to serve you well as you continue to progress in your career.
100%. I think it also helps with, you don't see the grade trending downward like you do in school, right? Like, so when you start seeing yourself going from like everyone starts with an A in my mind, and it's been over the years. But once you start seeing that grade trend down mid-quarter, C's and D's get degrees, you're kind of like, what do I got to do? Because it will be doubtful. You will see yourself fail with your peers, which I don't think you honestly see until it's too late in the real world, right? So now with your doubt, I think you have a great enabler with time management to see yourself trend back upwards and say, hey, I got to punch out these labs. To your brother's point, like I got to punch out these labs ahead of time. Never mind what the rest of the class is doing. I know where I want to be and how I can advise those folks in class based on my particular time blocking. I'm horrible with time management too. That's probably one of my Achilles heels. Like I procrastinate. Sometimes I'll double dip on papers. like I'll get that D in there real quick and the C minus. Okay, now I can ramp up. So there's a lot of doubt, especially in academics. Like I love school, and I also hate it because you got until midterm really to turn that around. Otherwise, it's automatic. Like they don't even bother nowadays. So I think I applaud you, because the doubt sets in when you start to see the failures. And then, unlike to your brother's point, unlike in the real world, you don't have that grading on a curve. Like the failure's already occurred. Someone's already got fired. Somebody's gotten rid of. You might get written up, and you might be, depending on where you land, you might be exited from the company. So it's good that you're building that up now, because you want to remove that fear, uncertainty, and doubt now, so you can come out better on the other side of your time and get better at time management. Long story short. So on a lighter note too, right? What is your favorite coffee preference that gets you throughout the day?
I mean, even though I'm not like a big coffee drinker, I do like a good vanilla.
Nice. So that's a Starbucks.
Yeah.
Hey, so that caramel ribbon crunch you got to stay away from. That's complete foolishness, Doc. I know you don't know. Stay away from that thing, man. That thing is sweet as all craziness.
Oh, that's
like it's ridiculous.
That's sugar in the cup, man.
Oh my God. So which frappuccino? I didn't catch which one, but you said vanilla frappuccino.
You said vanilla.
Vanilla, yeah.
Okay, what about that one that you like to get you throughout the day? What about it?
So it's actually, let me tell you my order. It's a vanilla frappuccino with Java chips and white mocha.
Whoa!
Yo,
it's a full dessert.
Yo, that's insane. See, and that's Starbucks for you. Yo, so say it, Java chip and what?
White mocha.
Java chip and white mocha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's dessert in a cup for sure.
Yeah.
And you're right. I think it's something about, it's the season. They change their drinks. Man, it's sweet like craziness now. That too. The white mochas are out. The peppermint. I think they still have the peppermint mocha, and then the holiday one now I think is a caramel ribbon crunch or something like that.
Well, like last month they just did the pumpkin spice.
Yeah, that's
every time in October
they
do the pumpkin spice latte. So that's always big around this time of year. No, I've had it before. I've had even what you just mentioned, Alfredo, the caramel ribbon crunch. But yeah, I definitely I had to stop because it's just way too sugary.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut
it's good, but
too.
it's because especially if you get like the large cup. That's almost like 700 calories alone in a cup.
Yeah, it's
you didn't even eat anything yet.
It's ridiculous.
That's your meal right there.
Yeah, so you could do some real damage with that. You gotta be careful with it.
Yeah, for sure. It just shocked me because I had one a couple weeks ago, and I was like, damn, I thought they changed the phone because I hadn't had one in a couple months. I'm like, man, why is it like? Oh, it's because like this is what you were drinking on a regular basis. You didn't know.
Yeah,
you're right. It's powerful. It's super, especially when you give yourself a break. Like I gave myself a break for about 6 to 8 months, and I just said, all right, I'll try it. I was in a rush, right? And oh my God, it's ridiculous how sweet it is. But it's good. Don't get me wrong, but it's probably one of those things you want to stay away from for sure. You can't do that long term.
It's not conducive with a healthy diet.
Oh, there you go.
Say that.
The FDA approved right there.
Right. If you're being healthy conscious and or fitness conscious, that's not something you want to consume too much. Right. So JoJo, if you could have any superpower to help you in cybersecurity, what would it be and why? If you want to be like one of the Avengers of cybersecurity, like what superpower are you trying to be? Like what you feel would help you?
Like read minds.
Nice.
So we're talking like a Fantastic Four. What was that guy's name from
Not Roger. I know what you're talking about.
Isn't it Richards?
Richards, Reed Richards.
Reed Richards, yeah.
There you go. Yeah, leader of the pack right there. He actually is. He's actually the reason for Doom too. I think coming out Doom.
Dr. Doom.
Yeah, Dr. Doom. Yeah, Reed Richards. So what kind of brain does it take to read minds in cybersecurity? What do you think? What kind of brain would you need, JoJo, to do that?
Well, mine would be like special, like turn it on and turn it off anytime I want. And I feel like, especially like for the bad people, I can read their mind and get information out of them. Sometimes they don't be wanting to talk. They like keep it inside.
So this is like some real invasive.
Right. She's building a model on like what kind of pre-crime like you're gonna commit right now. I
was gonna say that's a little bit of pre-crime. Okay. You can tell authorities so and so is gonna commit this crime. Like how do you know this? Believe me, I just know. Just make sure you just watch them. Okay.
Right now.
Yo, that'll be a great business model. Yo, you'll be a billionaire, man. You have a mind like Professor Xavier from X-Men. Just read everybody's mind
And so you can store those too. You can store that profile. You can store a model of those attack vectors for sure. And sell them like at this exact moment. These 20 individuals have committed.
Right. So last question, JoJo. What hobbies, interests, or any recreation activities that you enjoy outside of cybersecurity? Like just what do you like to do for fun?
Going bowling. I like trying new things. Lately, like for Halloween, this past couple years, and this Halloween that just passed, I do like pumpkin carving. So I like doing that.
So pumpkin carving, nice.
Yeah.
Is there a particular pumpkin that's better to carve? Like I grew pumpkins and they were like hollowed out. Is there how do you find the right one to start carving?
The pumpkins just get brought to me and I just.
Nice. But you gotta clean it out though. You gotta cut it up and get all the guts out and So you're saying
they grew hollow. They like collapsed on themselves. I grew them and I thought I could get them ready to carve now. Yeah, they didn't grow too well.
That's a bad batch.
It was 100%. 100%. I had to mush them up.
Oh no, they became like fertilizer then.
Yeah.
Well, JoJo, thank you so much for being on the Cyber Coffee Hour. I had a great time, and I think it's definitely going to be an example for others who are thinking about pursuing this career field. And I know your peers are definitely listening in and tuning in, and they're going to be motivated to pursue their career as well. But so before we let you go, is there anything you want to share with our listeners?
Yes, to definitely stay consistent in whatever you do, and to keep going.
Nice.
Awesome.
100%.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for that. And thank you for joining us for another episode of the Cyber Coffee Hour, part of the Alive Podcast Network. If you enjoyed this episode, explore more engaging content in the Alive Podcast Network app. By supporting this podcast and nearly 100 other Black hosted shows, you can enjoy ad-free listening while contributing to a diverse range of voices in the podcasting space. We appreciate your support and look forward to sharing more insightful conversations with you in our next episode. So until then, keep brewing those ideas and stay curious about cybersecurity. All right, that's it. It's a wrap. We out of here. Peace.